All right, everyone, get ready because today we are going to take a deep dive into AI and just how much it's going to impact software engineering.
Definitely a hot topic.
It really is. And you see all these headlines everywhere about, AI replacing developers,
Oh, yeah, all over the
but we
place?
wanted to really look into it.
Right, get past the clickbait.
Yeah, exactly. And just see what's actually going on.
Yeah.
What's the reality?
Yeah, what does it really mean for the industry?
Exactly. So that's what we're here to figure out. And we've got some interesting stuff to dig into today.
We do some pretty fascinating sources, actually.
Yeah, so we've got, Mark Zuckerberg over at Meta.
Yeah.
He's made some pretty bold predictions.
He has. He really thinks AI is about to transform how we think about software engineering.
Yeah, like upend the whole process.
Totally. And then on top of that, you've got Google releasing this new AI model, Gemma 3.
And it's supposed to be really powerful, right?
Incredibly powerful. But the thing is, it's also surprisingly affordable.
Okay, so that's interesting. So you've got Zuckerberg on one side saying AI is going to take over a lot of the work that software engineers do.
Exactly. He's talking about AI handling, coding, debugging, you name it.
Wow. And then on the other side, you've got Google making this powerful tool super accessible.
Right. So suddenly it's not just these huge tech giants who can play in this space.
So the question is, how did these two things fit together? What does it actually mean for the future of software engineering?
Right. And how does it impact all of us, the people listening right now?
Exactly. So let's start with Zuckerberg's prediction. He's basically saying that AI is going to be able to do a lot of the things that mid-level software engineers are doing right now.
Right. So think about all those tasks that, might be seen as a bit tedious, coding, debugging, even potentially generating entire code bases.
Really, like AI writing all the code.
That's the idea. He thinks AI can eventually handle it. And he even admits that the initial cost of implementing all this AI would be pretty high.
Yeah.
But he seems convinced that in the long run, the efficiency gains for companies like Meta would be massive.
So it's not just about automating tasks. It's about changing the entire way they approach software development.
Exactly. It's a huge shift.
But, it makes you wonder, Meta is already such a giant company. Why do they need to be even more efficient?
That's a good point. I think for Zuckerberg, this is about staying ahead of the curve. He sees AI as the key to unlocking that next level of growth and innovation.
So it's not just about cutting costs or making things easier. It's about being able to do things that they can't even do now.
Right. If they can automate more of the software development process, they can free up their engineers to tackle bigger challenges, build new products faster, reach even more people.
So it's really about pushing the boundaries of what's possible with technology.
Absolutely. And that's where Gemma 3 comes in.
Okay, so let's talk about Gemma 3.
Yeah.
What's so groundbreaking about it? Is it really as powerful as everyone's saying?
It's pretty impressive. The key thing with Gemma 3 is that it delivers this really high performance, but it runs on a single NVIDIA H100 GPU.
Okay, and why is that so important?
Well, think about it. Before this, you needed these really expensive server setups to run these kinds of AI models. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, that's way out of reach for most companies, let alone individuals.
Exactly. But Gemma 3 makes this technology accessible to smaller companies, startups, even individual developers who, maybe wouldn't have even dreamed of using this kind of AI before.
Wow, so it really is like democratizing AI, putting this powerful tool into the hands of more people.
Right, and that's why it's such a game changer.
But there have to be some limitations, right? I mean, if it were really that simple, wouldn't everybody be using it already?
Of course it's not magic. Even though Gemma 3 is powerful, you still need to know how to use it effectively.
Right, it's not like you can just tell it to build you an app and it does it.
Not quite yet. At least it can handle a lot of common coding tasks, but it's not at the point where it can replace human expertise entirely, especially when it comes to those really complex systems or, super intricate problem solving.
So even with Gemma 3, human engineers are still essential.
Absolutely, but the roles are definitely changing.
Okay, so that makes sense. But I'm still curious, what kind of tasks can Gemma 3 handle really effectively?
Right.
I keep hearing about AI taking over all the grunt work. But what does that actually mean in the real world of software development?
Sure. So imagine you're building a website, right? Gemma 3 could help you generate a lot of that boilerplate code, the stuff that's pretty standard across different sites.
Okay, so it can do the repetitive stuff.
Exactly. It can also handle things like creating forms, menus, that kind of thing, and it can even assist with debugging.
So it's like having this super efficient assistant who can take care of all those tedious tasks.
Exactly. And that frees you up to focus on the more creative aspects, designing the user experience or implementing those unique features that really make your site stand out.
So it's like AI is handling the nuts and bolts, and humans are free to focus on the bigger picture.
I think that's a great way to put it.
But does that mean that software engineers are going to become more like project managers, you know, overseeing the work that the AI is doing rather than actually writing code themselves? Is that what Zuckerberg is envisioning?
It's definitely a possibility, but I think it's more nuanced than that. These AI tools are changing the nature of software engineering, but they're not eliminating the need for human expertise.
So it's not just about replacing humans, it's about changing how humans work.
Right. And in fact, some skills are becoming even more valuable in this new world.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What kind of skills are we talking about here if AI is taking over some of those traditional coding tasks? What do engineers need to do to really thrive in this new AI-powered world?
Well, think about it as AI gets better at writing code, the ability to understand, analyze, and optimize that code becomes even more crucial.
So it's not just about writing code anymore, it's about understanding how it works on a deeper level.
Exactly. Engineers will need a really solid grasp of algorithms, data structures, software architecture, all those things, and they'll need to be able to spot potential problems in AI-generated code.
Right.
Things like bias, security, vulnerabilities.
So it's almost like the role of a software engineer is shifting from being a code creator to being more of a code conductor.
I like that analogy. It's like they're not just writing the notes, they're shaping the entire symphony of the software.
Yeah, that's a really powerful way to think about it.
And the thing is, this is happening right now. It's not some distant future scenario.
So we need to start thinking about this now.
Absolutely. Gemma 3 and all these other AI coding tools, they're already out there. They're already being used, and their influence is only going to grow.
So the question is, are you ready for this change?
That's what everyone needs to be asking themselves.
Okay, so we've covered a lot in this first segment. We've talked about Zuckerberg's vision for this AI-driven development and how tools like Gemma 3 are making that vision more attainable. But how does all this translate to the real world? What impacts are we seeing right now, and what can we expect to see in the near future?
Those are the big questions, and that's exactly what we're going to dig into next.
All right, sounds good. We'll be right back after a quick break. Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking about Zuckerberg and his, big idea for AI-driven software development and how tools like Gemma 3 are making that, a more realistic possibility.
Yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
It is, but I think now's a good time to zoom in a bit,
Yeah.
and look at how all this is actually playing out in the real world.
Yeah, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What are some specific examples of how AI coding is changing things right now? Are there any projects or stories that really show how powerful these tools can be?
Oh yeah, definitely one area where we're seeing a huge impact is in web development.
Okay, makes sense. Gemma 3 and other tools like it are making it possible for smaller companies and startups to create these really sophisticated web applications.
Without needing a whole army of developers.
Exactly, and they can do it way faster and for way less money than they could before.
So it's like leveling the playing field a bit.
Right, giving those smaller players the tools to compete with the big guys.
I like that. So are there any examples of that? Are there companies actually doing this?
Yeah, for sure. There's this one startup that I was reading about. They used Gemma 3 to build their entire e-commerce platform.
Really? Their whole platform?
Yeah, and they did it in a fraction of the time and cost it would have taken them using traditional methods.
Wow, that's amazing. So it's not just hype, it's actually happening.
It's definitely happening, and it's not just the small companies either.
Oh, so the bigger companies are getting in on this too.
They are, even though they might not be switching over to Gemma 3 completely.
Right.
They're still experimenting with it and other AI coding tools.
For specific tasks.
Right, things like automating code reviews or generating boilerplate code. Those tasks, that can be pretty time-consuming.
So they're using it to streamline their workflows.
Exactly. Make things more efficient, free up their engineers to focus on the more challenging stuff.
Okay, so AI coding is becoming part of the process for both small and large companies, which is pretty incredible. But I got to ask, are there any downsides to all this? I mean, it all sounds pretty amazing so far, but, every new technology comes with its own set of challenges, right?
Oh, for sure. There are definitely some things to think about. And one of the biggest concerns is, the impact on the job market.
Right, because a lot of people are worried that AI is going to take away jobs.
And it's a valid concern. While I don't think AI coding tools are going to replace all software engineers, there is a chance that some people could be displaced.
Especially those who are focused on tasks that can now be automated.
Exactly. So it's not necessarily about AI taking over entirely, but more about a shift in, what skills are in demand.
So it's kind of like a wake-up call for software engineers, right?
I think so. It's a time to adapt and, really focus on developing the skills that are going to be valuable in this new world.
Okay, so let's say I'm a software engineer and I'm feeling a little bit, you know, uneasy about all this.
Mm.
What can I do to stay ahead of the curve? What should I be focusing on to make sure I have a place in this AI-powered future?
Well, I think one of the best things you can do is develop expertise in those areas where AI still struggles, things like complex system design or really understanding the nuances of different programming
So
languages.
the stuff that requires like deeper thinking and creativity.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the importance of soft skills, either things like communication and collaboration.
So it's not just about being a technical whiz, it's about being able to work effectively with other people.
Right, because as AI takes on more of those technical tasks, the ability to communicate clearly with, colleagues, clients, even the AI systems themselves, that's going to become even more important.
So it's almost like the role of the software engineer is becoming more well-rounded, more strategic.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. It's not just about writing code anymore. It's about understanding the bigger picture, the strategy, the creative vision behind the software.
It's like they're becoming more like architects or conductors,
Yeah,
you know?
I like that analogy. It's like they're shaping the whole symphony of the software.
Yeah, and that's a pretty powerful position to be in.
It is, and it's something that everyone in the field should be thinking about because this change is happening now and it's only going to accelerate.
Okay, so we've talked about how AI coding is impacting software engineering. But what about other industries? Is this something that's going to have ripple effects beyond just software development?
Oh, definitely. I think we're already starting to see those ripple effects. Industries like finance, healthcare, education, all of them rely heavily on software.
So they're all ripe for disruption.
Exactly. And they're all starting to explore the potential of AI coding tools. For example, in finance, AI is being used to develop algorithms for high-frequency trading and risk management, things like that.
Wow, so it's really changing the way those industries operate at a fundamental level.
It is. And in healthcare, you're seeing AI being used to personalize treatment plans and analyze medical images, things that were really difficult or time-consuming before.
So AI coding is really making its way into every aspect of our lives.
Yeah.
It's not just about building software anymore. It's about, changing how we interact with the world around us.
Right. And that's only going to continue as these tools become more sophisticated and easier to use. Their impact is going to be even more profound.
It's exciting, but also a little bit daunting.
Yeah, it is. We're on the edge of something really big here, a whole new era where the lines between human ingenuity and, artificial intelligence are getting blurrier and blurrier.
So it's like we're stepping into the unknown.
In a way we are, but before we get too carried away with all the amazing possibilities, we do need to take a step back and consider the potential risks.
Right, because it's not all sunshine and roses.
No, it's not. AI coding offers a lot of opportunities, but it also raises some important questions about, things like security control, accountability.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, if we're relying on AI to write our code, how do we know that it's secure? That it can't be hacked or manipulated?
Right, and who's ultimately responsible if something goes wrong? Those are really critical questions that we need to be thinking about.
And there's no easy answers.
Not yet, at least. But as we become more and more reliant on AI coding, we really need to develop some strong security protocols and establish clear lines of accountability, make sure that human oversight remains an integral part of the process.
So it's not just about embracing the power of AI. It's about wielding that power responsibly, ethically, and with a clear understanding of the potential pitfalls.
Absolutely. It's a delicate balance, between innovation and caution, between pushing the boundaries of what's possible while also safeguarding against unintended consequences.
That's really well said. So we've covered a lot of ground in this segment.
Hmm.
We've talked about real-world applications of AI coding, the impact it's having on different industries, and even some of the potential risks. But what does all this mean for the future of work? How are these trends going to shape the careers of tomorrow?
That's the big question, and it's something that we're going to dive into in our final segment.
All right, welcome back to the deep dive. We've been talking about how AI is changing the game for software engineering. Everything from Zuckerberg's vision to what tools like Gemma 3 are actually doing in the real world.
Definitely a lot to unpack.
It really is. But now I want to get to the part that I think a lot of people are really wondering about. What does all this mean for the future of work?
Yeah, especially for all of you listening out there.
Exactly. Where do we fit into all of this? Like with AI becoming so powerful so quickly, what does that mean for our jobs,
Yeah,
our careers?
that's the big question everyone's asking.
It really is. And, I think we need to address the elephant in the room, like, are robots coming for our jobs?
Well, that's certainly the fear for a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, is this the beginning of the end for software engineers as we know it?
I don't think so. I really believe it's more about humans and machines learning to work together. It's a collaboration, not a competition.
So you're saying it's not like a zero-sum game where if AI wins, humans lose.
Exactly. There's still a huge role for humans in this AI-powered future. In fact, I'd argue that some human skills are becoming even more valuable.
Okay, so what kind of skills are we talking about here? If AI is taking over a lot of the routine tasks, what should people be focusing on to make sure they're still relevant?
Well, think about the things that AI still struggles with. Things like creativity, critical thinking, problem solving. Those are the skills that are going to be in high demand.
So it's not enough to just be a coding whiz anymore. You need to be able to think outside the box.
Right. You need to be able to come up with innovative solutions to complex problems. That's where humans really shine.
So if I'm like a student just starting out or someone thinking about switching careers, should I even bother with software engineering anymore? Or are there other fields that are, more future-proof?
Honestly, I still think software engineering is an amazing career path, but it's definitely changing rapidly. If this is something you're interested in, you need to make sure you're building a really strong foundation.
It's like understanding the core concepts, the fundamentals.
Exactly. But don't stop there. Make sure you're also cultivating those other skills that we talked about. The creativity, the problem solving, the adaptability, those are going to be your superpowers in this new world.
So it's not just about being a code monkey anymore. It's about being more like a code maestro.
I love that.
Like you have to be able to conduct the whole orchestra of AI tools, understand how they work together, and, create something truly beautiful.
That's a great way to put it. And the thing is, this applies to so many other fields too. It's not just software engineering.
So this is like a much bigger shift.
It is, no matter what you do, the ability to learn and adapt to work alongside AI, that's going to be essential.
It's like a whole new set of skills that we need to be teaching.
Exactly. It's like a new kind of literacy. We need to be preparing future generations for this new reality.
So it's not just about teaching kids how to code. It's about teaching them how to think, how to learn, how to be flexible.
Right. Because the world is changing faster than ever before, and we need to make sure they're ready for whatever comes next.
It's a big challenge, but it's also super exciting. We're living at a time of incredible technological advancement, and while there are definitely some risks, there are also huge opportunities.
I agree. The future isn't something that just happens to us. It's something we create. And with all this amazing technology at our disposal, the possibilities are endless.
That's a great way to put it. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the future of software engineering and really the future of work itself, we want to leave you with this. Embrace the change. Stay curious. Keep learning. And remember, the future is what we make it. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring.